ugly inner city sweat hogs, hit the music.
And maybe this is just wishful thinking because I want to think that the creative writing team has some semblance of good creativity. Because, like, if not, they seems like they're in like a writer's block or a lull where the stories or the direction just seems all over the place. Because just the, starting of stories and stopping of stories, kind of like Cena's heel turn, all of a sudden he's magically a face and a good guy and all that shit. And just even other stuff. Like, look at R-Truth. Now R-Truth is back because Cena's back. And it's like, okay, well, you went through all this stuff with R-Truth and now you kind of have him on the sidelines. You have Karrion Kross, who's finally the character is gaining like popularity and people are getting behind it, and then now you kind of cut the rug under him and you're not interested in really like renegotiating in a good way. It just doesn't make sense. That's why it just seems like it's got to be a work, or am I just wishful thinking here, boys?
Well, maybe he's just taking time off to promote his book.
And another thing is, just because his contract and they're taking bookings from other people, that doesn't mean he's not a part of it, because they're working alongside other promotions. They're working alongside TNA. So for him to, be able to take bookings right away and all this, it doesn't surprise me and it's also that blurring the lines, because I wonder with the Rock kind of stuff was kind of part of it. Then there was the Seth Rollins shit, but all this stuff. And I remember, Matt, you can confirm this because Turk just came out of the closet this past January for wrestling. But Triple H was pretty adamant that their goal was to blur the lines between, what is reality, what isn't, because kayfabe has been dead forever. I wonder if this is a way for them to go back to a different version of, kind of kayfabe, where, you know what I mean? Because you show Unreal, so you actually have this behind the scenes documentary bringing us more into the world, but actually it pushes us further from it, because now we don't even know what is real and what isn't anymore. Or am I just really looking into it?
I think you're reading too much into it. I don't think they have the insight for all that.
Yeah, I disagree with Matt. I think they do have the insight. I think there is there is obviously a big writing team. And I do believe that, like you pointed it out, Raz, that the kayfabe has been dead for years. And this is a new way to introduce uncertainty in storylines. And I think with today's technology, because we're so invested now in artificial intelligence and people are constantly being fooled as to whether it's real or not, now is the perfect time to play this game. And they proved it with the Seth Rollins injury. He literally was on crutches walking down the sidewalk with his daughter. That was videoed. That was put on social media. So why not this Karrion Kross book tour that he's obviously going on, that WWE is promoting? 100% it's a work, in my opinion.
Matt, you did mention before, you still think that Karrion Kross will be back for Royal Rumble. Why do you think that if he's gone?
It's on a contract pause. They don't want to pay him. They got nothing for him. I think Royal Rumble, he'll get a bigger pop and they could build something off of that. Imagine he has like 4 months off. His music hits. Well, people probably wouldn't recognize the music. Then they see him. They get a pop.
Good point.
Uh-huh. So do you think they let it kind of bubble and like brew a little bit and to see if it gets some steam? So like if people, because I heard that there was no chance on Raw, and then there's word on the street that Karrion Kross signs were taken away by security and all that. Have you guys read any of that?
Yeah, I read that too, but I don't know. I seen some of those signs at the event. I don't know. Maybe they were just big, obscure signs.
I assumed there would be chanting, and there was none.
But this is still a little bit different than the R-Truth, because R-Truth just out of nowhere just like said, oh yeah, I got let go from my contract. See ya. Yeah. Where Karrion Kross has been talking about his discrepancies with the company, like how he's pushed and also his contract. Is there a little bit of that? Because you have to be from a company perspective. If you let someone go or put a pause on their contract and you're putting it to bed for a little bit, you want to control the situation. And they do have the option of drowning out, even if there is chance. the situation with Karrion Kross is not the same scenario as R-Truth, because R-Truth got let go from his contract, and then there was like this we want truth, and it turned into a social media and online frenzy where they brought him back. Supposedly, like if we were to believe that it's all true and not a work, that's what happened. But with Karrion Kross, it's a different, because he's been for quite some time very vocal about kind of what was happening with his character, about airtime. We've been talking for how long, Matt, and then you, Turk. Where's Karrion Kross? You know, like he's barely featured at all. So then he talked about his contract, and like you said, Matt, you said kind of like how they've kind of booked his character is to kind of lowball him. And then it sounds like I haven't watched the interview that he just put out, but they just threw a contract, take it or leave it. You have 24 hours. I might be being hyperbolic about this, to sign it. And then he's like, I can't sign this. I'm not going to sign. And that's what happened.
I'm not buying it.
I heard that he was offered the contract, didn't accept it. I imagine if they give him a bit of a break, and if he comes out at the Rumble and gets a big pop, then he could have a push off of that.
Right.
I think if you just bring him back in the next couple weeks, it'll be like R-Truth. Everyone's chanting for him. They bring him back. He does one show and a couple backstage segments, maybe a couple times coming to interrupt that, what's his name, Malachi or whatever, Selena's husband.
Oh, Alistair Black. Yeah.
Yeah, comes out, and then you don't really see him until he had that little 2-minute thing with John Cena, if that was even 2 minutes. I think they're trying to go thing with Kross. Like, what's the point of bringing him back now?
Well, that's the thing with R-Truth or Ron Killings, whatever.
Let it bubble. If he gets a pop at Rumble, he could push. If it's cricket,
I guess it'll depend on how he builds his momentum. You're right. This could really, if they do bring him back at the Rumble, this could turn really big for him potentially, because there's anticipation. And there's also sometimes being gone makes the heart kind of fonder towards someone. So that could do something. But also wrestling's kind of a tricky thing, because sometimes there's that out of sight, out of mind, or it moves really fast. So it's potentially he could just be forgotten in the ethers, and that's it. So it's kind of interesting what his next play is going to be. But you guys are right, he has his little book launch, and I saw your message that it's #1 on Amazon. Is that correct?
Well, not overall, but it's #1 in the sports bio section, which is a pretty big deal still.
That's a big deal, right?
Yeah,
and like
it is.
Scarlett, I mean, her alone, the traction she can get, like she's a Vixen Fatale with spikes on it. Like, I mean, it's really arousing and also scary at the same time. Like, but I'm willing to take a dabble into those sharp claws.
Oh, yeah.
dabble into the dark arts.
If this is the witchcraft and wizarding world, sign me up. If she wants to be my Professor McGonagall, I'm down, and I'm willing to give everything I can to learn her dark arts.
I'm with Matt then. If okay, like it's a work, but it's also a break from the show. So I could see where he could be off for a bit, doing his book tour, doing whatever, and then come back and get a nice big pop. But I think that's probably the plan all along, is to give him a couple months off or whatever, and then maybe let him come back. Obviously, he's busy doing the whole book thing, and they're just working it into the show.
Is it possible the WWE doing this, and if they do that, and that is actually their trajectory, is it possible that they're going to lose the audience? Because this stuff with like guys being injured, now we have Naomi, who's potentially pregnant with my kid. I don't know what's going to happen. She told me just to put the whole jar of mayo in her. You know, I mean, I just thought she was just really hungry.
She could take it. Yeah.
Oh, she's got the bubble butt for it.
Yeah, with a tailgate like that.
Yeah.
For sure.
Because, like, if they keep going to it, anything that happens, and maybe that's their master plan, I'm wondering, because, like, I want to think that they're more clever, but they have all this money into this machine. I like to think that there is a lot of creativity in this company, but to some of the stuff they do really does shake my confidence. And I think you kind of hit on the note that maybe they're just as not as... Are they stuck in their own echo chamber to actually really be creative and actually see the grand picture could really make things good?
I think they have it planned. They probably already planned in WrestleMania, but they probably have like 5 or 6 kind of branches off there to cover if there's any injuries or I don't know they might start developing a story and not getting a good crowd reaction that they want, so they change it up. It seems like they're speeding up this Asuka versus Io feud. And originally at King of the Ring, I said Asuka was...
That's right. She was going to go heel.
Well, her and Io would have had a good SummerSlam match.
Kind of held off on that, and now it looks like they're moving forward. But I wonder what'll happen to Kairi Sane. We know how we think of her in the aesthetics department, but as far as kind of in-ring, she's kind of trails behind the two. If that's what happens, is she going to be more like is she going to be caught between the two, or she's going to be kind of Asuka's kind of lackey that'll help interfere with her heel push? Because I'm assuming Asuka is going to be pushed as a heel. That's where she's going.
Yeah, I agree with the Asuka heel push. Kairi, see, I disagree. Her in-ring work, I like it. She's got the best elbow drop on the roster.
Okay.
She does all the flippy stuff.
Yeah, but not quite as smooth and sharp as Io and some of the other females. I do like her, and I do like her look. Maybe because she's so tiny. Maybe that's why I'm kind of...
Well, I just heard, the rumor, of course, with Naomi possibly being, preggers. I heard that since her departure, they've had to fast track the Asuka heel turn. I think they were going to try and slow play it a little bit more, but I think this kind of gave them the push.
And on the flip side, this will give Io something else to do besides just wrestling and kind of feuding with Rhea Ripley as almost like frenemies. They're rivals, but they really respect each other, but they're kind of like friends, but they're not. But that's kind of wrestling in a nutshell. People are friends, then they're bitter enemies, then they're friends again, then they're back to being enemies, and so on. That kind of makes me want to turn to what's next for Rhea Ripley.
How about she has a tag match with Io versus the Kabuki Warriors? Whether that kind of helps the feud somewhere.
Yeah, Asuka can kind of fight with Kairi when they lose.
But I think the Kabuki Warriors almost need a third member in there to kind of balance it out. Maybe have a reunion with your favorite girl, Bailey?
Yeah, I heard she's going to be turning heel. The rumors are out there.
Yeah, they're kind of back heel, because she was heel before WrestleMania 40, and she actually was with the Kabuki Warriors and Io Sky. Okay. They were called Damage Control. So I don't know. I don't know if she's doing the heel. She's more like a pathetic lost soul. But you see, part of the problem with the Bailey...
I got one more prediction for the Kabukis. I'm going to say Dakota Kai comes back and she joins up with Kairi.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, she got cut, but I don't feel that was necessary. She was good. A little injury prone, but maybe she comes back for the Women's Rumble.
Seth Rollins is injury prone, so I guess the only difference with Seth Rollins is he is injury prone, but he comes back pretty quick, so he never is out for extended time.
Yeah, he blew his knee out at main event, and he was back for SummerSlam. That's Wolverine style recovery.
Yeah.
Seth Rollins for the next Wolverine. Make it happen, Marvel.
Yeah. Oh, I can imagine just his voice grinding on the surround sound at the theater.
But he's got to say bub a bunch.
I'm a revolutionary, Bab. Fuck me.
An evolutionary.
X-Men evolutionary. Seth Rollins as Wolverine.
I'm going to start playing with ChatGPT now.
We were talking about creative and changing up stories. They have a plan, like Asuka was going to be turn as a heel, but the Naomi stuff. But I saw Paul Heyman on a talk show there, and he was talking about he is a part of creative certain meetings, and he talked about the ones that he gets involved with are the long-term ones, the ones that they're talking about WrestleMania 42, WrestleMania 43, and 44, and so on. I am kind of interested to think, from a nuts and bolts perspective, they kind of have a idea where they're going. I'm assuming they already know where they're going for WrestleMania, who's kind of in the main event. I'm assuming Seth Rollins is going to be in one of them, of course, probably Roman Reigns, probably CM Punk. So we're going to potentially get another WrestleMania that's almost similar with the same players in the main event, give or take. Also, Jey Uso could be still in the fray. Does that kind of water things down with freshness, that if we potentially go into another WrestleMania with these guys, essentially it's the same guys in the main event spot, but maybe placed in different spots? Is that problematic? Going to the well one too many times over multiple years when it comes to long-term kind of booking and pushing stars, because LA Knight, really, they should really be pushing LA Knight. He's the one guy that they really should elevate out of all of this. So hopefully with this Clash in Paris will actually help kind of push him, to the point where they could look at him at main event in WrestleMania.
Yeah, I think LA Knight definitely needs to push to kind of change up some of that stale threesome that's going to happen at the main events. And instead of yelling, yeah, he needs to be yelling, wee, 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 wee.
But not like my pee-pee, not my pee-pee, but wee, wee.
Yeah.
He'll be Patty Knight.
Okay, so how long did the tribal chief hold the belt for?
4 years.
Okay, so did that get stale?
He wasn't around that much, though.
So he held the championship belt, but he barely showed up.
Well, that's been kind of the trajectory. Like Brock Lesnar was kind of on that. He only did a certain amount of dates or PLEs or pay-per-views with Roman Reigns, where Triple H does say this, and we've seen this forever. They limit his appearance, right? You don't have him wrestle every week. You don't have him. You either can expose them or run the risk of injuring them, especially if you're building to something. But you also, it's more like the less you see, the more you want. It's kind of like, like supply and demand. The less there is, the more you're going to want to demand it. So they've always done that with wrestling, because I remember back as a kid, Hulk Hogan he rarely wrestled on Superstars of Wrestling. Every now and again, he'd have a match here or there, but rarely did he ever wrestle or be featured on that show. They would save it for Saturday night's main event or a pay-per-view. They've always kind of kept it like that. And you look at even Gunther doesn't make a lot of appearances like in the ring wrestling. He does here or there, but he doesn't wrestle week in, week out. Cody Rhodes is actually more consistent. And even with him, I noticed he does more appearances than, and now maybe a lot of his wrestling is dark matches, but I'm just going by what I see on what is broadcast on Raw, SmackDown, etc. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would like to see a change up for main events for PLEs. I don't want to keep seeing the same three guys. However, I understand that they have these long quarrels with each other and they can drum up some really good stories. I get it. But I would at least like to see, a little bit of a change up in there somewhere. Just maybe.
Because like what I would want to see is, okay, so Cody is the champion. Okay, you're building for Drew McIntyre, but along the way, have on a SmackDown, have on a Saturday Night's Main Event, have another guy like, Rusev or something, challenge him for the title. So like, it's like there's freshness in people he's facing. Is my opinion, sometimes having these year-long feuds, especially when they're the champion, they should be defending the title against newcomers, up-and-comers, and not every match or every person they face has to be a grudge, program where it lasts like 3 months, 6 months. It could be like a build to a match, a good match. That match happens, on to the next guy. And I don't know, you can still have the overarching kind of story between people.
Yeah, no, you treat it like a trilogy, really. You have a long overarching story, but each episode can be a little bit different. And you can have different little variations of the story within that. So you can have changes and swerves and, all kinds of things.
As fans, I want to see the champion defend his title amongst all the superstars you have there. That's why, like, in my opinion, I think they should get rid of some of the championships, have only just one tag team, have either just the United States champion or Intercontinental. And then it adds more prestige to the title. So whoever has the title defends it against different. It makes it more coveted. Where every show has tons of titles, they just seem like props to me now. Before, they used to be a little more meaningful.
Yeah, I don't remember ever seeing so many belt changes watching wrestling. Like, it's very different today than it used to be back in the day. Even when I watched, like, back in the 90s, usually, from what I remember anyways, people held on to the belt for much longer. Not 4 years, but, longer than, a month.
Bruno Sammartino.
It did mean something.
It did. Bruno Sammartino held the title for 6 years. Bob Backlund, I think 5 or 4, and Hogan kind of 4 and that. And then Roman. But the difference is those guys had more title defenses than Roman. Roman didn't defend it too much, where those guys, if you looked at even when they do the stats, there was a lot more times that the title was on the line, right? Fighting champion. I think that's why. And on the other hand, really shouldn't really compare Roman's schedule to like a schedule that Bruno or Hogan had. It's just a different time. The wrestlers no longer wrestle that many days in a year. They have more time to kind of heal and rest. Where back in those days, 365 days was the norm of that lifestyle. Well, actually, according to Hulk Hogan, I think he probably would say he wrestled 400 days a year. But it's just a different time. So Roman's title defense compared to Hogan's or Bruno's, it's hard to compare. It's just a different time. But it's nice to see a fighting champion defending his title against all comers.
Another big difference, though, between wrestling then and wrestling now is we don't have any like jobbers. And I know we talked about this before, where a jobber typically does have a persona and a name now. But so then everyone does matter in the WWE. Like, everyone has a shot at a belt. Everyone has the ability to get there. But when you watch wrestling in the old days, you knew when Steve Smith came in to fight Hulk Hogan, it's like, okay, well, he ain't coming back. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to maybe see Steve Smith today and then he's done. He got like a gig. Yeah, so it's so different today.
And I think they can kind of find a happy medium with a little bit of that. Not necessarily, I don't think no one's going to watch Raw or SmackDown to watch them fight jobbers. But some of their stars, like, say, okay, you can have, for example, Stephanie Vickier. Since she won Evolution, when's the last time she's had a match on Raw?
Yeah, why are they pumping the brakes on her?
Instead of having her on the sidelines, continue to feature and have her build towards her matchup towards whoever she faces at Clash at Paris. And that's why you could bring up some people from NXT, some of the girls, get them a little bit of exposure. Nobody knows who they are, and you have Stephanie beat them. It's another way of like featuring Stephanie and getting people to see her, and you could treat it like she's sharpening up her skills and keeping fresh all the way to her first world championship in the WWE. It would make sense to continue to feature her. We know these girls that she's wrestling have probably no chance of beating her, but it's more so it's highlighting Stephanie and exposing her to the audience, because that's the point. She still is a new commodity on the main roster. The same thing with Julia. There's some good girls there. You can get Sol Ruka, you can get Cesaria, you can get Kalani Jordan. Lash Legend right now is having a feud with on NXT with actually Nia Jax, and they had a kick-ass match where it really showcased Lash Legend. I think Lash Legend, it's a matter of time before they call her up to the main roster. I think she's going up right away. And why not just do that? So they're not necessarily jobbers, but you can highlight more of the talent from your roster. You can go to NXT, you could go to AAA, you can go to that Evolve, bring some of them and use them. So and then for Raw, for the main event, when you have some of the main guys, you can really build to that and have some of your stars have matches, get wins. You know what I mean? And it builds momentum for their matches, who they're fighting, feuding with, or challenging. It just, to me, that just makes more sense. Treat it like it is like the UFC, where each fight kind of counts.
I got a take on Stephanie here. I think this whole Naomi pregnant thing, if it is true through that whole kind of arc there, out the window, and they're going to probably give Stephanie a couple squash matches before Clash in Paris. But I think what they did with Roxanne, with her beating Io, I think it'll be Stephanie and Roxanne for the vacant title at Clash in Paris. There's no way they want to have Stephanie beat Rhea or Io on her first big kind of title fight. I think
Really?
this is a way of them getting Roxanne in there and having Stephanie just beat Roxanne. So I think they were going to put the belt on Stephanie at Clash in Paris to begin with.
Wouldn't a bigger match be with Rhea Ripley and Stephanie Victor, or is that hold off on that? Because I just don't see Roxanne.
That's a big match, but I don't think they want her fighting Rhea yet.
Yeah, but
Right.
it's
that seems too quick.
Roxanne. I just don't see pitting her against Stephanie Victor at Clash Parents. Would it be as big as a match as it would be with Naomi?
No, but it'll be a good card opener, and Roxanne did just beat Io.
She did, but she's also lost quite a bit on Raw, and you know what I mean? They just lost the...
That was pre-Naomi pull out there, or lack of pulling out.
So I like
Big Jim, don't miss.
Way to go, Big Jim, if that's true, and congratulations.
On his 14th kid.
Well, yeah, we need some more Samoans in the WWE.
Yeah.
We have basically...
Mine's going to be pretty stacked.
They're talking about diversity, but any more Samoans come in there, is this going to be just Samoa? Holy jeez, like the amount of people they're bringing in. But okay, yeah, I can go with that. Like, it'd be a great match. The two would have a fantastic match. I'm down with that, because I guess I can't see nobody else. Why not throw Jade Cargill in there?
No.
Have her and Stephanie Victor.
Who's that?
Jade Cargill. Throw with
Never heard of
curveball.
her.
Don't be disrespecting her just yet.
She got buried and forgotten already.
But that's one way of unburying her if she comes back. Now, you'll bury Stephanie Victor that way, but...
That's why I'm thinking it's Roxanne. She could take the loss. She's young.
Yeah, true.
She's got lots to do still.
Yeah,
That'd be a good match.
And they don't want to have Stephanie beat a big name this quick. I mean, you got to build up for that. Maybe
I
Survivor
can't see
Series
Victor
something.
beating Ripley.
So then what? You now are setting up Stephanie Victor and Tiffany Stratton at Crown Jewel then?
That would be a good match.
Because
Yep.
if they do the Crown Jewel, it's that champion versus champion kind of thing. It would be a good match, right? But who do you put over on that one?
Stephanie.
Maybe that's why we haven't heard too much about Stephanie, is that they are going to put the rocket to her back and let it go.
I mean, fuck, if they put a rocket on Jey Uso's back, come on. Stephanie's way better.
She
So how long do you think it'll be before Jey Uso steals the devil's kiss?
Not long.
Yeah, but he'd find a way to fuck it up, knowing Jay. He wouldn't have the stamina for it. He'd be out of breath. Of course, Stephanie Victor, I think she's a better in-ring performer. And the long run with her, I think she could be a huge superstar. But the truth is that people organically did get behind Jey Uso, and he had a big fan following. Yes, his in-ring and promos did not match the fandom that was supporting him, but it did build a long time. Where Stephanie, yes, she's quite popular, but still, it's dicey putting the title on her. In my opinion, it's a little dicey because we haven't had a lot of time with her on the main roster.
Everyone also loved Bozo the Clown, and that doesn't mean that you have him lead the show. Yeah, Jey Uso is Bozo the Clown. So he comes down the aisle and yeets for 10 minutes. No wonder he's fucking tired. No, the kids love him. That's why. He's a kid favorite. He's not adult favorite.
But I'm not saying
Kids are pushing him.
I'm not saying about quality, because as we know, the best in-ring performer necessarily doesn't become the biggest star. Look at John Cena. John Cena is really not he's really not that good in the ring. His moveset is pretty choppy, but it works for him. And he's gotten over other ways. My point is, Jey Uso has gotten over. Yes, it might be an entrance and a song and a yeet, but it got over. Where Stephanie, she's not over like that yet. So I don't know, putting the title on.
No, she actually has talent, though.
That's not my argument.
She should be over, though. But my opinion.
Yeah, but you're missing the point of, is it a lot of times the best worker and the best technical and the person with the best talent doesn't necessarily equate to being the bigger star and getting the big title. That's what I'm saying. Because if we did that, Hogan would never have ran the way he did. You'd have someone like Mr. Perfect, Rick Rude. You'd have those guys, and Randy Savage hold the title a lot more, but they were never as big. Or Ultimate Warrior. Those guys, him and Warrior was never where near. I mean, those guys is workers, but he was more over.
Because people loved him.
People loved him. That's my point. And Stephanie, I don't know Stephanie right now is at that point. Now, here's the thing. We put the title on her and see what happens. Possibly she will. The only thing is what I'm worried about, and I'll probably be proven wrong, but if you put the title on them too soon, sometimes it deflates them to get over, because we want to have Stephanie to the point where we're craving it so bad. It's like when Daniel Bryan, the Yes Movement, the people begged for it and pushed for it for so long for him to be in the main event to win the world title, that when he did win it, the payoff was great. That's all I'm saying, is that maybe we could do a little bit more of that, some of these guys, because like I really like Stephanie. I think you could put the title on her, but I'm a little bit hesitant to just yet. That's all. How about that Braun Breaker top-notch Steiner math? Clearly, that is a homage to, you guys are 100. It's like, that doesn't quite add up, but that's great.
That's great, man. That's the shit I love about the wrestling.
I don't know about you. I'm a little bit on the fence. I like the thought of the tribal thief and the Shula Fala, but I don't know for long term him walking around with guy's shoes tied to his neck that I want to see. Like, I liked it as more of a short term. I thought it was cool. Yeah. But if he's going to be coming to the ring and bragging about stealing shoes, like, it was good at SummerSlam. It was good before. I like that they allude that he is the tribal thief.
Yep.
But I feel like they're leaning on it a little bit, but also at least it's something for Bronson to kind of push him. So like, I do like a little bit of these vignettes they're doing where it is kind of like, okay, we're giving him something to be featured, because that's my worry with the Vision. I wish they would have came up with a better name than the Vision.
It sucks, yeah.
But that probably came from Seth Rollins. I guarantee you that Seth Rollins came up with the Vision. I just don't think the name is cool. And Seth, I repeat, if he dressed the same with the guys, a little less, I know he's flamboyant, but to me, it's just find it hard to take it serious with Seth, like the way he dresses and how he acts sometimes.
100% agree with you on the Seth Rollins. I don't like him that much. I find him annoying, and the fact that he hasn't had a character change in years where's this range?
You don't want to take my word for it. Just go on the WWE playlist and go watch Seth Rollins' journey. You don't have to, because from when he appeared and when he became kind of that architect that he claims, it's been the same thing after another. They're trying to set him up as the Triple H from the late 90s all the way through the 2000s as this ultimate heel. And they even actually kind of book it like that, where the heels kind of always kind of win or get up, and the faces always look like pussies. You think they'd make Stone Cold look as fucking helpless and pathetic as some of the are on TV? No way. Yeah. Stone Cold got beat up, but he never lost that aura. And you're always thought as a fan, you're like, wait till next week on Raw. Hell is gonna pay, because when Stone Cold gets his hands on these pieces of shit, they're gonna go get a stunner and he's gonna drink some beer. So even when he was getting beat up or even humiliated, he still looked cool. Or some of these other wrestlers, Cody Rhodes, especially Sami Zayn, they look really pathetic. Well, I guess that kind of ends things here. We kind of had weather kind of conditions, so both Turk and Doormat have kind of kicked out, so I'm going to end this stream. So what do you guys think? Do you guys think that the WWE is actually creating a whole new genre of kayfabe where reality and fiction have been so blended? Also, is Braun Breaker's math so good that maybe he should think about post-wrestling as teaching calculus? Because I think he's onto something, because you can't argue Steiner math. All we ask as a new channel, if you guys can leave a comment, hit the like button, subscribe, share this with other people, help join our community, and let's talk about some wrestling, especially about the ladies, because I can speak for both Matt and Turk. We're all about the ladies of wrestling. On that note,
what I'd like to have right now is for all you fat, out of shape, sweat hog, keep the noise down, hit the music.